everyone and welcome back to my channel. Or if it's your first time, welcome to my channel. My name is Marlene and I talk about eating disorder recovery and everything related to healing the relationship with your own body, with food and with movement. And I did get a comment on my last video about how to restore your hunger cues, and that comment is actually super important. So I wanted to address it right away. And the person basically asked, how can you actually learn to trust your body again? How can you learn to trust your hunger cues again? And she also said that she has a lot of trauma and that it's very hard for her to be in tune with her body, and therefore she kind of uses rules around food because she can't trust her body and can't trust her hunger cues. That is something extremely valid. First of all, it is very important to understand it is nothing to be ashamed of. It is nothing that is directly in your control. No, it is in your control to work on that, and I'm going to talk about it in a second how you can do that. But also understand that your body is kind of trying to protect you. So when people, for instance, dissociate, or when people kind of like not feel in touch with their body anymore, it can be a trauma reaction. It can be the body's way of trying to protect you, even though it might be a short-term fix, but it's never sustainable and it's never a long-term fix. So we actually want to get back to trusting our body, to be more in tune with our body, and also to be able to listen to our hunger cues again, because that is a sustainable long-term fix. So as I said before, you mentioned trauma and you mentioned being out of touch with your body, and I assume that you're working on like trauma related issues and on the trauma itself with somebody, because as much as we can work on like trusting the body again and also like working together with the body again, we can definitely do that, but it can also be very important to still work on the trauma itself. So my first tip would actually be work with somebody. I assume you did that already. I know a lot of people who have a therapist or who have done a lot of work in regard of their trauma, but they still kind of feel stuck and they still feel out of touch with their body. And that is because we can do so much work and we can do so much speech therapy and like be so aware and still be out of touch with our bodies, because it's actually a somatic issue. Our nervous system is super crucial and important when it comes to being in touch with your body, trusting your body, working against depression, working against other mental health issues, because if your nervous system is out of whack, if your nervous system is dysregulated, you will have a very hard time healing. I don't want to say impossible, but I definitely know a lot of people who could actually just started healing when they regulated their nervous system. So number one would be try to calm down your nervous system. There's a bunch of exercises I mentioned in the last video, from working with a somatic therapist to breath work, to calming everything down, to setting boundaries, because even like setting boundaries and not going against what you actually want to do is also calming down your nervous system. So there's a bunch of different things that you can do, and it is important to understand that you have to do them on a regular basis. It's not enough to just do breath work once or twice and then it's over. Try to incorporate things in your day-to-day life that help you to calm down your nervous system. And if you want more information on that, let me know in the comments, or you can just go back to my other video where I talk about it in depth. So that would be my number one thing. Number two, understand that your hunger cues are there for a reason. So if your body sends out hunger cues, if you're actually hungry, eat. Your body is very smart, and it would not put out hunger cues to confuse you. So if the hunger cues are there, eat. And it doesn't matter how much you've eaten before, it doesn't matter if you moved or not. If you are hungry, you have to trust it, because it's kind of going hand in hand. Your body probably doesn't trust you anymore because of the eating disorder, but you also don't trust your body. So in order for your body to trust you, you have to trust your body first. And that means you have to listen to your hunger cues over and over again. And I understand how challenging that is, especially in eating disorder recovery, but you have to listen to your physical and mental cravings. So if you're hungry and you're hungry for something particular, don't eat something else because you feel it's healthier, it has less calories. Eat the thing you're actually craving in whatever quantity you're craving, however often you crave it. And as I said before, it does not matter how much you ate before, it does not matter if you moved before. Eat it, listen to it, and don't make up for it. And again, I understand that it's not as easy, but it is crucial to actually get into that habit. And I'm going to share a little bit about my story. I definitely had issues to trust my body, because first of all, I had this very, very unhealthy ideal that I wanted to keep. So I knew if I would actually listen to my body and trust my body, I would not be able to keep that unhealthy ideal of myself. So I had to let go of that, and I also had to eat. And my hunger was up here. I had a lot of extreme hunger, and I was craving a lot of things that I did not allow myself for years because I was caught up in my eating disorder. So it was very hard for me to go from my very disordered behaviors to, oh, I'm allowing myself to eat everything. And I had so much doubt. I had so much doubt. I was doubting if I'm binge eating. I was doubting if I'm really hungry, if I'm imagining I'm hungry, but I still did it. I still listened to my cravings. And it did take quite a while, but over time, my body started to trust me. And that's when it can finally start to heal. So a lot of people think, oh, the first meal I'm eating in recovery and my body is starting to heal. The body will probably slowly start to repair a few things, but your body will actually start to fully heal and to fully repair you when it can trust you. And that just needs constant nutrition and the constant listening to your cravings. Since you were saying you're kind of getting into a logical headspace because you can't try your body, I would also try to kind of reframe that. So if you know yourself and you know that you happen to be a person that's trying to overthink everything, which can also be a trauma response, then it can be very, very important to kind of shift your mindset. So instead of eating as little as possible is good, or I'm only allowed to eat that much or those foods or at that time or whatever it is that pops up, try to shift these thoughts into the logical thinking of, when my body is hungry, it needs food. When I am craving something, that is what my body needs. So use the thing that feels like it's holding you back, which is your critical or logical thinking, and shift it and try to use it as something that actually helps you in recovery. For a lot of people in eating disorder recovery, it is so hard to understand that the thing that they are doing is actually the right thing. I work with clients with different eating disorders, and one of the number one questions I get is, am I doing the right thing? Is this really not enough food? Am I allowed to eat that? Today I didn't move at all. I sat on the couch and I ate so much. Is this right? And my answer is yes. As you guys know, of course, always see a doctor as well, especially if you're in danger of refeed syndrome. But overall, especially in eating disorder recovery and in recovery from a restrictive eating disorder, there is no such thing as too much food. And I know it can sound extreme, but I know a lot of people who work with that approach, and it turns out to be very, very helpful, because this phase in recovery where you're actually craving so much food and where you're actually going through all these changes and everything is also the phase in recovery that you have to stick with in order to see change. You will probably still have certain mindsets and certain thoughts for quite some time. In fact, a lot of people start recovery and they still struggle with their thoughts and their feelings and the feeling of, oh, I'm getting too much, I don't look sick enough, or whatever it is, for at least a year. And I know it can sound very frightening, but at the same time, it can also be a motivation to know, okay, this will not stay forever. So even though I've been in recovery for so and so many months, and I feel like I should have different mindsets or I should have different thoughts already, give yourself time. Don't give up on recovery. It does not mean that recovery is not for you, but also make sure to not treat yourself. And what I mean by that is make sure to not restrict in any other way than not eating, because switching out certain foods can be restriction. Not eating the amount you're actually craving can be restriction. Not eating at certain times can be restriction. Exercising in order to make up for food or in order to earn food can be restriction. So restriction can come in so many different ways. Make sure you're not engaging in those behaviors. Make sure to try to calm down your nervous system and to do some somatic work. Make sure to continuously working on your belief system and try to give your body just a little bit of trust back. I know it can be so hard to trust your body after everything you've been through, but if you try to give your body a little bit trust already, then you will see that eventually your body will trust you too. And that can be a wonderful thing to experience, this mutual healing of you start to trust your body again and your body starts to trust you again. But in order to do that, you have to trust the process as well. I really hope this video helped to answer your question. Let me know if you have any other questions as to this topic or anything else. And if you guys are seeing this before Christmas, I wish everyone a wonderful Christmas already. Of course, I'm gonna be back right after Christmas. I already have a few videos planned. Have a wonderful holiday time, and I hope everyone can enjoy their Christmas.